Good rising, great awakenings. Just getting warmed up here. Got the heater going, and I've got to go get a glass of water. Right back. Yeah, I let my dog out, but she hasn't come back. Come back in. Good rising, great awakenings. My name is Tachia, aka Arit, and I've been coming on here for a couple of months now on Tuesdays talking about topics of interest to TaMeriKans. What is it? What is TaMeriKa? You may or may not know the indigenous name for this continent of North, Central, and South America is TaMeri. Maybe it's not considered to be indigenous. It's more aboriginal. It's the Kemetic name because at one time Kemetic civilization and culture was on this landmass as well. And so in recent times, more and more people have been coming into this awareness and knowledge. In fact, I learned about it a lot on TikTok. For decades, I would describe myself as a Black Indian or Black Native American, something like that. I have Cherokee ancestry and Lakota. And then one day, one of my dear friends, who's a guitar player, was like, "Why do you still call yourself Black? You're not Black. You're not Black. Black is not a good thing to declare legally." And so after many years of me listening to him talk about this, I decided to make a change and no longer refer to myself as Black African American, Black Native American, Black Indian. None of those apply. There's lots of information, evidence stating that or showing us that on every continent, the first Uja Hatshepsut, the first people were melanated or AKA Black. There's lots of evidence showing that we were reclassified many times from American Indian, Native American, then colored, then Negro, then Black, Afro-American, African American, to remove us from our identity and our legal status. There's no country called Black. There's no land mass called Black. So we're basically stating that we come from nowhere and we have nothing. So that's why I stopped using that term. And I started identifying with TaMeriKa, TaMeri, also known as Chi Amaru, Chi Amaru or Amaruka. And that refers to North, Central, and South America. So it's no longer dividing us by the colonizers' plans, like Latin America. Well, what does that mean? That means colonized by the church. So why would someone want to identify with that? How can anyone claim to be indigenous or native if they're only using the terminology that was forced upon them? So I recently decided to start up my research project again in cultural astronomy, galactic Oh, that would be great, Hatshepsut. That would be great. Um, Pick up my, oh goodness, there's my dog. Okay, I've got to go let my dog in. It's raining. She wasn't ready to come in. So don't go anywhere. Please come back. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get everything done before 8. Doesn't always work. So, like I was saying, thank you for waiting. Like I was saying, the last time I went to Kemet, my spirit guides told me that my studies of Kemetic spirituality were done or on hold or whatever. Not that I know everything, but I need to get back to the original research project of cultural astronomy, galactic and Sirius cultures, and find the similarities, find the correspondences. Because according to the Hopi prophecy, good rising. Thank you so much for sending this share. I was just talking about the Hopi prophecy that states, in these days and times, the third shaking of the earth, the indigenous people of the four directions will come together and share the wisdom teachings, because each direction, I don't have my medicine wheel, each direction only has one portion of the truth, and we have to put them all together, because initially we were one people, one culture, and then it spread spread all over the world. And it's every different location has its own expression of the truth or the culture. um and so each location believes that theirs is the best or the only one or the first one. And so my research is to show that it's one culture in many different locations, many different times, many different places, but at the root is one people, humans. And the original Aboriginal people were what today is called Black, from North Central and South America, TaMeriKan, copper colored, copper toned is how we were described by the first colonizers that arrived here. That's how we were described. They said we looked like Black people or we were copper colored. So I'm going with that. I no longer refer to this science as Kemetic, because when you say Kemet, that's one location, one time, and space, and it's everywhere. You can find these same principles in every tradition if you go back far enough. Like I say, if you go back far enough in history, you'll find that it is Black. So my passion is the Milky Way galaxy and the cosmology of indigenous people such as the Olmec Maya, the Quechua and Peru, the mound builders, and the Lakota and the Cherokee. Those are the cultures I'm most familiar with, because that's what my lineage consists of. And then people would say, well, you're not this, you're not that, you're mixed, you're this, you're not pure, you're this, you're that. You know what? None of that really matters to me anymore. I don't trust the DNA tests. And I know what I feel. I know it's in my DNA. I know it's in my blood. I know I just feel it. Then who feels it knows it. And there's so many of us that have similar experiences and feelings. So there's got to be truth to it. One of my favorite ways to bring up discomfort and conflict and uncovering the truth is when I get into conversations with people that are from Africa or Native Americans. They're very angry that so many of us are taking this position, taking this stance to reclaim our original identity, our Aboriginal identity, Aboriginal heritage. And I always ask them, why are they so angry? If they don't believe it's true, then it's not true for them. But if it's true for us, I don't know why. What are we taking from them? What are they losing by us claiming this identity? Let's see. And if anyone on TikTok who wants to join in the conversation, just let me know. I know some people like to play games, and I don't really do that, so I don't invite anyone. But if you would like to participate in the conversation, just throw me a corn or a feather or whatever you choose, and we can talk together. Right now, I'm just rambling. So that is the purpose of TaMeriKan Tuesdays. It's really an excuse for me to keep doing my research on this topic. I went to grad school and studied with Linda Sheely, who was a Mayan expert. I've traveled to a few places in Central and South America, and I was an astronomy grad student at UT Austin. This has just been a passion of mine. And so one of the things I'm planning for this year, you were on the call last week, we talked about how the sun is in Sidereal Sagittarius, so it's time to create your travel plans for your spiritual journey or whatever you're going to be doing this 2025 calendar year. And I said I was going to work on my travel plans, and then I decided, or it was revealed to me, however you want to say it, that I'm going to do a mounds tour. I want to visit the mounds. I've been to several pyramids in Egypt and temples in Egypt and Central and South America. However, I have not been to the mounds. So my travel plans for 2025 are to visit the mounds. And if any of you live in places where they have mounds, I'd like you to DM me so I can plan to meet up with you in person when I start this journey. I'm going to start. I want to say it's a tour because I'm not going to be able to visit them one after another. But by the end of the year, I'm going to see how many I can do. And so I'm going to start with the Cahokia Mounds because they're so close by in Southern Illinois, and go to St. Louis because some of my ancestors lived in St. Louis. So recently I learned about so there's two people on TikTok that I follow, and I just jump in on their live streams when I can. That's The Earth Speaks and We Know the Truth. We Know the Truth is the brother that's like, roll the corn, roll the corn. I love it when he says that. But the last time I jumped on his stream, let's see if I can get that on here. He was talking about 7 hill mounds. Is it this one? No, this one. It says Rome was built on 7 hills outside the city walls, and he talks about different communities of the mounds where they have a central mound with the main building, and they have 6 other mounds for the other buildings. And there's even a city in Ohio called 7 Hill Mounds. Ohio is a big hub for these mounds and our Aboriginal people. I went to college at Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio. So I'm excited about that. But I will be going there when I get to Ohio. 7 city mounds. 7 hill mounds. 7 hills or 7 hill mounds or 7. I don't know what it is. 7 hills of everywhere. That's what the article he posted about was talking about. 7 hills of everywhere. Let me see if I can find that on YouTube on this channel here. 7 hills. 7 hills of Rome. 7 hills of Ohio. 7 hills. Let's see. Not just Rome. I'm going to put Ohio. 7 Hills, Ohio. City of 7 Hills. Yeah. Let's see why is it called 7 Hills, Ohio? Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to do some more research on the seven hills, this thing that he was talking about. Okay. Oh, good rising, Rhonda. Uta, Ubenefer. Yeah, so today we are talking about topics of interest to TaMeriKans. I don't know, Rhonda. Rhonda has been a student. I guess you could say she's been a student of mine for a while now. And Rhonda, do you know about TaMeriKa? Have you heard anything about TaMeriKa? That Tameri is the Natarian or Kemetic name for North Central South America, and that there's evidence and proof of this culture and civilization here. And so that's what we're talking about on TaMeriKan Tuesdays. Yeah, so and I also was talking about how I'm planning to visit the mounds in different cities in North America. That's my plan. Okay, good. She says she has heard about it. It means beloved land. So when I make it back down to Georgia to see the mounds, maybe I will see you. Okay. So I usually start off with some readings from the little books that I wrote. No, I haven't published them yet, but I'm going to. This one is from 2007. Well, yeah, my travels in 2007 when I went to, thank you. I went to Veracruz in Mexico, where the Olmec heads are located, where most of them were found. And I got to go to this amazing place called Ijapantla, where we talked about that before. I was reading the book When Rocks Cry Out about proof that the ancient Kemetic civilization was here first, and then there was a civil war, and then some people went east to set up the memorial in what we know of as Kemet, and over here it was TaMeri. So here's a picture of the gigantic waterfall at Ijapantla. In the book When Rocks Cry Out, the Pantlas are the people that traveled from Mali over to the Yucatan. And so I thought it was significant that there was a place called Ijapantla. All right, so now I'm going to read a little bit more about some of the notes that I took from the book When Rocks Cry Out. I think we did this last time. Yes, here we go. These are, like I say, these are just notes from the book from Atlantis. No, not about Atlantis. There was a current that would whisk you from the western coast of Africa, like Mali, is the place I know about the most, over to the Yucatan in 17 months, which was really fast back then. You might have heard of that King Massa Musa. I don't know his name. I'm sorry. I talked about it last week. Well, I don't know. I don't have it on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, he wanted to find out if it was true. So he sent some people there. They didn't come back. So then he sent some more people, and they came back and told him that the first people he sent just stayed. But there's a big, yes, thank you. Mansa Khan Musa. Oh, it wasn't too far. Yes. So there's a current. And so that was proof that people traveled back and forth all the time. It wasn't like something new. There was culture that existed in both places. And if you have the opinion that at one time it was one continent and then it broke off into pieces, yeah, that's an explanation. And that the culture over in Turtle Island or further south in Mexico, it was there first, and then they set up a memorial in Eastern Africa and Kemet. Those are my beliefs based on my research. So Atlantis, I guess by that time, Atlantis was underwater because they were, yeah, so I don't know. I really don't know. Atlantis, though, isn't Atlantis on the eastern side of Africa, the Atlantic Ocean, and then Lemuria is where the Pacific Ocean is? Something like that. Gondwana land. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm sure I don't know what that is. Can you tell me what that is? I've never heard that. Okay. So I'm just going to read a few notes from the book here, and then we'll move on to the next session. Can I read this part? Oh, here we go. Memphis at the bottom of the page. Memphis, Heliopolis, Tenochtitlan, Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan is the place of Jehuti. That's one way that you could say that it's Naturian. Then there's a labyrinth at Lake Moeris, She'ar, Great Lake Basin, Mi-Ur, Great Lake, Tashi, Land of the Lake. The origin of Egypt was planted in the dirt of Heliopolis, 19 miles to the north of Memphis, City of the Sun, Teotihuacan, Pyramid of the Sun, Tehuti, Heliopolis, City of the Sun. Lake Texcoco, Te-Shekoko, Ta-She, is a stairway pyramid not in Egypt. The plain of the area was called Mikolto, or Path of the Dead, burial place of the kings. During the 5th century BC, it was called the City of the Crocodiles. Memphis, now that's interesting because people say that Memphis here and Memphis. Oh, you thought it said the two cultures spread from there, from Atlantis. Yeah, I've heard that too. Atlantis, Lemuria. I've heard that Lemuria is the foundation for this country, Mexico and Peru and all that, and Atlantis is the other coast. But I'm trying to get beyond saying who was first and where did it come from, and just acknowledge that there is connected. My belief is that if we can apply these spiritual teachings that Seba Ma put forth for the Kemetic spirituality, which is, in some people's opinion, a memorial to what already existed here. So we study the Olmec Mayan hieroglyphs and get to know their myths and compare them or analyze them with the Kemetic myths, that we'll be able to activate the culture here and help people here move on in their enlightenment. Because if you're always just talking about Kemet, then some people can't access that. And I believe that there's something here that can be accessed. For example, the maize god, the green god, that's a Sar. And a few weeks ago, we read from the Mayan Cosmos and learned about how he was dismembered, and the Hero twins helped put him back together, which sounds like Heru, right? Hero. And then the goddess is, it just sounds a little too much like, oh, okay, well, let's see what's going on with Queen Tolbert.
This is one of my spiritual teachers. and she looks like she's teaching right now. So I just wanted to ask, what's going on? What's the energy we're in? Like this, we're just like, man, straight up releasing, calling in like this dark moon, like second moon energy. Can you break it down for us?
I don't know. I don't know if I can break it down for you, sis. I know that there's on January 21st, there's supposed to be like 4 or 5 portals opening up because of the planetary alignment. So I'm going to be doing something for that. But like the second moon, all that's just the blue moon. I was just created by Western imperialists, because the reason there's a blue moon or the second moon, you said the second moon, is it the second new moon?
This is the second moon that we've had, full moon that we've had in this month.
Yeah, so that's all gibberish, because the reason they call it that is because there's actually 13 moons in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So why are there only 12 months?
Right, exactly.
Right. So there's actually 13 constellations along the ecliptic. The 13th one is Ophiuchus. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing special about having 2 full moons or new moons in 1 month, because their calendar is not based on reality. So it's a lie.
Exactly.
So, and then even I don't even really follow the moon anymore, because I'm no longer convinced it's real. It's beautiful, but it's just like, it's just a satellite. It's just,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like actually an actual satellite that ancient civilizations left to control and monitor life on Earth. So yeah, it just depends on where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all I got. I'm more into the Milky Way.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm more into the Milky Way galaxy. That's what we're talking about right now, is the cosmology of Aboriginal people. And with the Milky Way, you go by the Olmec traditions. It makes a cross in the sky with the ecliptic. And so it's different energies coming through at different times. So that's really where my specialty is.
So that's why we see the skies like I'm in Arizona. I look at the sky all the time, and it's just like the colors that come through. You see all kinds of. It look like just portals opening up, like all kinds of crosses. There's rainbows. I've seen double rainbows just in the middle of the sky, just a circle, just a rainbow. So yeah.
Well, they say that the quote unquote aliens are making themselves known, and they're trying to protect us and warn us. The Galactic Federation is sending out information. I don't think it's anything to be scared of, though. Yeah. It is kind of crazy, though.
When you're tapped in and you understand yourself, you're not going to be in fear. You know what I mean? So only those that follow the program and go by what they're told, they will be in fear.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's it right there. I just
you're only fearing yourself.
Learning how to see beyond the box, the limitations, and really creating your own reality. Like we're on this broadcast I'm doing right now is for TaMeriKan, which is the Aboriginal name for this continent, and just going back into the Aboriginal galactic cosmology wisdom of our ancestors, and tuning into that, because I don't even know if the sun is real. There might be 2 suns. You just can't really go by what the Western. Yeah, you just can't go by that, and you just have to trust your intuition, which isn't always easy, because it's going against the grain.
Out the box.
Yeah, but we can create our own reality. We can create our own reality, create your own. What I'm learning about mostly is how to fine tune my affirmations and manifestations, because I see things happening, manifesting, but there's something off about it. There's something, and so that causes me to not try to do it anymore. But you have to. And so, let's see. Nesting Doll wants to thank me for exposing her to the Neteru. Oh, that's wonderful. And then here we have, I read a story about the Neters coming from Atlantis, but it was fiction to make you think by someone well read. The Neters, I've got 2 conversations going on, but the Neters are cosmic forces of nature. They don't come from a place. Like when creation was created, these forces of nature were created. So they're everywhere. They came from the source. So, so I wanted to address that. But anyway, back to you about what's going on. I think it's time to, like we say, tap in and create your own reality, not go along with what they're feeding us.
Exactly.
I'm learning how to manifest using the Netaru, which are forces of nature, not just gods or goddesses. And the portal opening with like 5 planets. I've got to do some more research, but we'll be having some live streams on that too. But if you're asking about the moon and the sun, they're beautiful and we do feel the energy. But the calendar that they gave us is not in tune with nature. So I just don't follow it.
And you just have to go with what you are picking up for the time. You know what I mean? And usually the collective, it's usually the same thing. You'd be like, oh, this person, everybody would be feeling the same thing, you know what I mean? And the same energy as a collective.
Yeah.
But, we have our individual stuff that we, go to. But when it's the big picture, you'd be like, oh, you're going through the same thing. All right, you're feeling the same energy. And that's what helped us push us along to know that, okay, you're not by yourself.
No.
You're okay,
Yeah.
All right. Next, but if you ignore it, then hey, you're gonna,
I guess it's the new moon. Is it happening right now? This is it. That why you're reaching out to me?
Oh yeah, well
Yeah. I'm not even in tune with it anymore. If somebody asks me, I'll go look it up. But it changes so often. It's like every 3 days, and it just stresses me out. It's like lunacy to keep up with the moon. It's just too much for me. And so like I say, I'm just focusing on the galaxy because at the solstice.
I think it changes. Do you think it changes too when like when we change? Like women, as our body changes out of and going into what they would call menopause or whatever, and your cycle and being in tune with nature or whatever, it seems like it changes.
The moon changes or you change?
No, not the moon, but just you shift because it used to be like when the moon was full, that was when I usually would come on, and so. But now it doesn't happen anymore. You know what I mean? So it's different.
Well, they said that back in the day, a long time ago, women didn't get their periods. We didn't get that. That didn't happen. So whatever frequency they're pumping out, like in nature, the moon changes signs every 3 or 4 days. So, and then there's a period when it's in between constellations called the void of course, where it's just pure chaos. And so I found that when I was trying to follow the moon, I was trying to do new moon offerings, full moon offerings, quarter moon offerings. I was following it. I was paying attention to the void of course, and it was just too much. It wasn't helping me. It wasn't helping me in any way to know when the moon was, because the moon is your personality, which that can be your ego if you're not on top of it. And there's just like so much more that I want to develop in my life and my being. It's so much more ancient, like the things that don't change, because we're supposed to be seeking eternal. The wise chooses the eternal. The wise doesn't choose things that are like changing every single day. And so that's why I stopped following the moon. That's why when they that whole blue moon thing, when was it? It started in the 30s when there was I don't know if it was a beverage or something that they were into that would like make things look blue. And so that's when they called it a blue moon. I guess when you looked out, I'm not really sure, but in the 70s, I know the woman who started that whole thing about, it's 2 full moons in 1 month. It's the blue moon. It was literally started by someone that worked at UT Austin. And it's only because we have 13 moons every year, but only 12 suns. And then the time thing, they rob time from us every day because the day begins with a sunrise, but at midnight it's considered the next day. Like if you at 12, like going out to the club, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I gotta get home. But midnight literally means the middle of night. So by shifting that perspective to where your day doesn't begin until the sunrise, you literally gain like 6 more hours in every day. So it's a perspective. I've been living that way for a long time. I've been following the Dogon calendar, a circular rainbow. Yeah, if it's around the sun, she's asking about the circular rainbow. If it's around the sun or the moon, it's just called a sun dog or a moon dog. It's just like a rainbow around those objects. So, yeah, double rainbow.
Technically, if we would be going into 2017 if we wasn't going according to the Gregorian.
Oh, you're talking about the Ethiopian calendar? If you go by the Kemetic calendar, which is based on the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, what is it, Vastu Rhonda? It's 38,791 or something like that. So there's really I don't have all that information at my fingertips. I should, but I don't. Wait. And then if you go by the Sirius calendar from the Dogon in Mali, they say it's the year 424, but that's out of a 1,600-year cycle. And then how many of these 1,600-year cycles have they had? It's thousands, 20,000 years. So you just got to expand your mind beyond Western imperialism concepts of time, because they're just here to control you, to enslave,
right, to lock you down until it's reality, basically.
Yeah. So I would say just keep working on your portals, keep detoxing, purifying. I'll have more information on these the portal opening coming up really soon. I think it's the 21st or the 25th of January. And I try not to get all out of shape about these really temporary things, like even retrogrades. I view them as a positive thing, not a negative. It's a portal opening. It's a chance to really experience something that you don't normally experience, but never let it I don't know. There's always a next, yeah. So that's what I would have to say about.
Not of that where we think retrograde. I think that's more like the other people, everybody else, because
well, I mean, it does happen. It's a what do you call it? Optical illusion, because the Mercury doesn't really go backwards. But if you're looking at if you track its orbit, it looks like it goes this way and then it stops, and then it goes back and then it starts again. So it actually looks like an opening. The symbol of the eye of Haru, the outer symbol of the eye, right. or the glyph for my name, Arit, representing the mouth or consciousness. It actually does make that shape. And so what came to me is it's an opening. It's a portal opening of energy, learning, intuition, whatever the planet is and whatever constellation it's in. So, but yeah, don't let it I mean, you can't do anything about it. Like if there are 2 moons in a month,
just use the energy that comes to you, transmute it if you need to, and go with the flow.
Yeah, that's all we can really do. So
and grow from it,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I jumped on here with you. I have a student on YouTube and I have a student on TikTok, so that's a good sign. One of my students. Yes. And I was just reading a little bit from my book on my travels in Mexico, and then we're going to have a yoga session, but we'll see if that happens today.
Yes. So you guys like and follow my teacher. And thanks for joining me.
Thank you for the invitation. I hope I didn't damper your excitement.
No, see, because that was the whole point. I wanted a whole new perspective.
Oh yeah, there's no such thing as a blue moon. Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, it's just a man-made thing.
One person might have been like, yes. So.
Okay. Well, Dua, thank you.
Yes.
Peace and love. I don't know. Okay, good. There we go. That was fun. Yeah. All right. Swahili count their time like that too. Yeah. So I use the the Sirius calendar, where every week is 10 days. Let's see if I can get it on here. I'm not a member of this temple because they're very patriarchal and very disrespectful towards women, but it's from the Earth Center. Or is it going to open up? I must not have good internet. You can open up for me today? I don't know. Oh, there we go. So it has, oh, you can't see it very good. There we go. 10-day weeks, and each day has a name. And this is a calendar I've been following. You can get it on your app, at your app store, the Earth Center. It has 2 days of rest and 2 divine holy days. And then you also do the ablutions. They used to have a booklet with the instructions for free, but now you have to buy the whole class. And so once I finish the cosmology temple manual, I will include that information in there. But that's how I count the time. I don't know. I thought Swahili was a language. Here I'm learning as a language that they created for marketing, for sales between the tribes and nations, since there were so many languages. I didn't know there was actually a culture called Swahili. So if you have any more information on that, let me know. I thought it was a language that they formulated so they could do commerce, at the market and understand one another. So if you have information on that, that would be great. Okay, I'm going to read one more page from here, because this is the one I wanted to get to. Okay. So I was asking about Memphis, if that is a Greek word or was that originally the name? You saw that in a language book. Okay. The name, because there's a Memphis in, of course, here, Turtle Island. And then there's also a Memphis in Mexico. So anyone has information on that, I would love to get that. Okay, but Memphis, an old capital of Egypt, a little above Cairo. But, Minifer, that's the name. Minifer is the Kemetic name for Memphis. So I'm curious to find out about the Memphis here, because there's a Memphis, Tennessee. There's a Cairo, Illinois. I learned that Cairo is a Greek name. It's not the original name. So that's the kind of stuff I want to know. Oh, that's why you changed it to East Africans. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, Ethiopians, their calendar, like the lady was saying, is 2017 by the Ethiopian calendar. I no longer consider Ethiopian culture to be indigenous or aboriginal because what we know of them today is because they were converted by one of the Candace queens when she married a bishop. So once that happened, then they lost that status in my book. Yeah. So I don't know about their calendar. I know their alphabet is very similar to the Cherokee alphabet. But I'm only interested in Aboriginal cultures, indigenous cultures, practices that existed before the colonization. Once it was colonized, I don't dwell in that. 6 a.m. is 12 o'clock, saa kumi na mbili in Swahili. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, just go. The new day begins when the sun rises. It doesn't matter what time it is on the clock. That's when the day begins. And 12 midnight is the middle of the night. Sunset it varies. 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Central Time. But you always know there's a certain frequency, a vibration that exists at the middle of the night between what is it? 2 and 6 a.m., 4 and 6 a.m., around that time. They call it the bewitching hour. It doesn't matter what the clock says. You feel it, So I just go by nature. Well, I'm sure they have a good reason. 12 o'clock, the middle of the day. Wait, 6 a.m. is 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. So they call 12 o'clock the middle of the day. 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is the middle of the day for them. I can see that. The sun rises the middle So the sunrise and the sunset are the high points, the highlights of the day. I feel that way too. My favorite time is at sunrise and sunset. So I can understand that. Okay, so Horace Butler says that Memphis. Oh wait, no. Okay, so he says that there is no trace to be found in Cairo, but you can find this evidence that he's talking about over here in Mexico. That if you check in with Jewish scholars, they'll say the same thing. There's no evidence, no archaeological evidence that any of the things they say happened in the Old Testament or the New Testament happened in Israel. But when you come over to Central and South America, I don't know about North America, but Central and South America, you can find the evidence. Like he says, Peru is Jerusalem. And when I was there, I found a natural rock formation of a sphinx head. 8 a.m. becomes 2 o'clock. Okay. I just stick with the sunrise and the sunset as the beginning and ending of the day. But I know there's so many ways to keep track of time. Okay, and so he said the remnants of the wall were transported to build the city of the caliphs. Horace Butler says that Memphis is where the Aztec capital had been. Menes, temple of Hatshepsut, first human king of Egypt, separated Memphis from the Nile by a dam. I've heard that even the word Nile is Arabic, that our Aboriginal name for the Nile River is Happy, Hapi. The dam ran in a straight line from a place called Coyoacan, south of Tenochtitlan, to the place now called Tepeyac, north of Tenochtitlan. Herodotus wrote of this project. So here he's talking about some dam that was supposed to have been constructed in Memphis in Egypt. It's not there, but you'll find it at the Memphis in Mexico, outside of the pyramid of Teotihuacan. Herodotus wrote of this project. The Coyoacan Dam caused water to make the southern bend by the Aztec lake Xochimilco, 13 miles from Tenochtitlan, 13 miles south of the bend. Tenochtitlan sits directly in front of the Mexico-Singo Coyoacan Dam. Outside of Memphis, they dug out a lake in the shape of a crocodile. West of Apis, founded by Menes, who was devoured by a crocodile, Texcatlipoca is the Great Bear constellation. Memphis is Crocodilopolis, great lake shaped in the likeness of a woman carrying an island on her back. Tenochtitlan was called the Lake of the Moon. The Spanish demolished the island city of Tenochtitlan, Memphis, and drained the lake. Okay, this is the part I wanted to get to. The Pianki Stele in Thebes. There was an Egyptian pharaoh called Mariaman Bianchi in Thebes. Religious rites performed there before going to battle on a campaign to take Mexico City. Sailed from South America to the eastern side of the Yucatan, headed to Hermopolis, the city of Thoth. The Mayan city of Copan is the Hermopolis on the Pianki Stele. After recapturing Copan, Bianchi sailed further north, arrived at the canal besides Iyahun, a Maya city called Paya or Boca Paya, Egyptian prefix Pa, P-A. The pharaoh continued sailing north until he reached a fortress called Mer Atum. Is this the same place now called Tulum? The stele says that he went to Ithtoe, maybe the same as Chichen Itza. Sailed west after leaving the Nile, which may or may not mean a river, then southward to the Valley of Mexico. Memphis, surrounded by water, street of the gods, highway of the gods. Mexico City has a road called Mexico is called the Road of the Gods. The Hill of the Sun Pyramid is called Sand Hill. After Memphis, Bianchi visited Heliopolis, climbed the steps of the Sun Pyramid. So the question is, where is Thebes of the West? High in South American mountains, it was called Upper Egypt. Where is Kadesh? The Egyptian battle with Kita people of Kadesh, somewhere near a major river below the place of Pianque was written, Sergipe del Rey. Okay, Sergipe. Now, I'm going to stop after this. Sergipe del Rey. I've actually been to Sergipe. It's in Brazil. Okay, I didn't write a book for that trip. I closed my eyes. I did this. I said, tell me where I need to go. I put my finger, I think it was a globe. No, I just put my finger there and it landed on a place called Jemoabo. And then when rocks were out, Moab was very significant. So I went there, and when I looked it up on the map, it was in the county or township or the state of Sergipe, right? But when I got there, they told me, oh no, they changed the line, and now Sergipe is just what was it? It was a county. Now it's a state. I don't know, a city. They're shrinking Sergipe. At one time, Sergipe was like all of Brazil was called Sergipe. It was called Sergipe, and so I got to go to Sergipe. I went to Jemoabo. Now they say it's in Bahia. They're like, what is it? Redlining or redistricting this whole area that was called Sergipe. So, yeah, so I'm just reading my notes from the book When Rocks Crowd. If you'd like to know more, try to get a copy of his book. I know for a while they were out of print. He was trying to get it printed in Spanish and Portuguese. And then after I produced his book, he got angry at me because I was only talking about Kemet, and he wrote the book because he wanted to show that Jesus Christ, his hero, was here. Like all that stuff happened here. So I don't speak to him anymore because I'm really interested in the ancient history, not the colonizers' history. So basically what he's saying is even the steles in Egypt or Kemet are referring to events and people and places over here in TaMeriKan. That's why I'm still reading from this book. So we'll pick up next time on the chapter on Brazil. When I wrote this little book, I didn't know about Sergipe. I had never been there. I'd never heard of it before. But now I can say that I've been there. In fact, I didn't even know that this was here about the stele of Pianque talks about Sergipe del Rey. So that's exciting for me. Okay. All right, then. Got a few more minutes. Let's go to the Maya cosmos. This is the author that I studied with for almost a year after I dropped out of grad school after my horrible encounter with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I got into galactic astronomy and then cultural astronomy. So now I'm into cultural galactic astronomy. If you were on earlier when Queen Tolbert was talking about the dark noon, because there's two new moons in 1 month, and I told her the truth about that whole phenomenon that's created by Europeans, only because there's 13 moons, then why are there only 12 suns? But anyway, I was studying with Linda Sheely, and that's when I learned about the Olmec and the Quechua, and I dropped out because I knew she was just taking our research and writing books. And so I decided, hello, Linda, to live by the teachings instead of just study them. And then when she passed away in, that must have been 1992 maybe, her spirit came to me and told me I needed to continue my research so that everyday people would have access to this information, not just people going to her classes. Well, Hatshepsut says that Bobos say Christ was crucified in Egypt, Jamaica. All right. Yes, well, there's a lot of myths around that, and I don't buy into any of it anymore because I know that the whole myth of Jesus Christ was formed after the wisdom of Heru. And I really feel sorry for people that still practice that religion. Anyone that's still following untruths, my heart goes out to you. Okay, so let's pull up a reading from the Mayan cosmos. And remember, anytime you see Maya, the Maya are the people that inherited the Olmec wisdom and spirituality and culture. And they kind of tend to they completely distance themselves from the Olmec, which I find to be similar to what's going on here in TaMeriKan, North America, with the Native Americans who are angry at me because I'm saying that I'm a descendant of the Aboriginal people of this land, not Native Americans or even Indigenous. Indigenous means you were here before the colonizers. Native American means you go along with whatever the colonizers tell you to do. That's why I'm not Native American and older than Indigenous, because the Indigenous people also detach themselves from their origins. I think it's because they don't want to admit that they descended from Black people. I think that that's really where the hatred and animosity. Same with the Arabs in Egypt. They're furious when I say Kemet is Black. When we talk about the original Kemetic people were Black, that just, my God, my videos talking about that got 200,000 views. So anyway, when you're talking about the Mayan cosmos, you're talking about the Olmec cosmos, right? So I just randomly open pages and just see what they have to say to us today. Oh, this one has some pictures. Yeah, it's just pictures. I don't think you'll be able to see the pictures very well. Here we go. Yeah, okay, let me take this off. Yeah, I'm really happy for the person who commented that she's grateful she was able to learn about the netters from my little broadcast. So I really appreciate that, you sharing that with me. Like I said, I don't think you're going to be able to see the pictures very easily. So I'm not going to even try that. Let's just go back a page or two. Yeah, this looks good. The foliated cross. I think we've okay, yeah, we'll go to this part. The cross tree. Okay. The living cross and soul force. Okay. Now, earlier we talked about the cross, the foliated cross, representing the Milky Way and the ecliptic. Okay. Represents when they're a straight up cross. At other times it'll be like this, different movements. It's always moving. It's never the same. So this is page 251. And I remember I was supposed to read Linda's story. Oh no, I was going to summarize it. Yeah, because it's so long. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay. The living cross and soul force. We believe that the living force that animated all properly dedicated things in the classic Maya cosmos survives the conquest and endures today. One accessible expression of this continuity is found in the ancient symbol of the world tree, which transformed into and merged with the modern cross of JC. As we have tried to show throughout our story of the Maya cosmos, the world tree cross is an object had its conjuring houses, its altars, and has today its churches. That means that they always build churches over the Aboriginal sacred sites. Ucha Oris Bunmi, it's great to see you here today. But it requires none of these things to manifest the soul of the divine. For the house of the world tree is the world itself. Here is an unbroken path of dedications from the pre-Columbian Maya, the Olmec, to their present descendants. As we saw in chapter 3, for the Maya whom the Padres were trying to convert to the new religion, the leap from tree to cross allowed them to embrace the outward forms of Catholicism without losing the cosmological content of their own beliefs. Aside, now it's time to decolonize, to take back our indigenous Aboriginal practices. We don't need to hide who we are anymore because everything's being revealed right now. And I believe that we will actually be able to access the power we need to defeat Western imperialism once we decolonize our spiritual practices. We want to regain the cosmological content of our own beliefs. Cross-shaped world trees greeted the first Spanish visitors. When Francisco Hernandez de Cordoba stepped ashore in Campeche in 1517, he reported, quote, unquote, temples of lime and stone set on pyramids, and they saw idols, figures of serpents and fierce animals, and what appeared to be painted representations of crosses, unquote. At Cozumel, the Spanish saw a pyramid with a 3-meter high cross of white lime in the center of its courtyard. Again, remember that to them the cross is the Milky Way galaxy and the plane, the zodiac. That's their cross. It's a big difference. In 1697, Can Ek, ruler of the last independent Maya kingdom, planted a stone column called the Yaxchilcab, the first tree in the world, in the center of his palace. Now, what does that remind you of? That's, uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. TikTok is, there we go. Okay, so what is this reminding me of? This is reminding me of the pillar of Asar, the Jed pillar when Set had locked him in the coffin and the coffin sailed up the Happy River, the Nile River, and the king of the king of Persia it grew into a tree, right? And then the king of Persia had to cut down and put as a pillar in his house. Okay, that's what my passion is, finding the correspondences between the Kemetic wisdom and the Olmec wisdom. Oh, we got some questions here. What about 20K, 2000K, and the Mayan reset? Yes, of course, the Mayan reset is the Olmec calendar. The calendar is Olmec. The number system is Olmec. The wisdom is Olmec. The Mayan inherited it, and then they're the ones that added the bloodthirsty sacrifices. Okay, this book is called Mayan Cosmos by my teacher, Linda Shealy, who may she rest in peace. And the other book that I wrote on the galactic that we read from sometimes is my research project that I didn't turn in. I decided to just start a garden. But these are Olmec myths. Then the Mayans kept it going. The Mayan reset. Yes, a lot of people thought the world was going to end, but it was just a reset. And when you think about it, the world didn't end, but the world as we knew it ended. Because what was going on at the time, like I had internet, like life had already started to change around that time. So I definitely feel like it. Super interesting. The book, yeah, the Mayan. Okay. So Linda Shealy was the Mayan expert back when I was in grad school. When was that? 1980. I went back to grad school in 86. No, wait. Both of my children were here, so that must have been 92. I went back. But I studied with Linda Shealy the first time. Oh my goodness, I need to get my own timeline together. Yeah, it was in 90s. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let me keep going. Okay. Okay. The first tree in the world in the center of his palace, Yak's Chi of God, was associated with ancestors and the creation story. Nearby was another sculpture called Akoka Mut, perhaps a rendition of the cosmic bird that perched in the top of the world tree. Crosses like these were found throughout Yucatan, where they were associated with rain and called Yaxche, the first or the green tree. These crosses are still painted green today. The cross tree stands blessed, dressed, and adorned as the symbol of ancient understanding in contemporary homes and shrines. Crosses have literally spoken to the Maya across the ages and still do so in the modern world. Yeah, but in the modern world, they're seasoned with something that we don't want anymore. We never wanted it, but our people adapted. But just because they were able to adapt doesn't mean we need to keep on with these practices that don't serve us. You were 10 and 86. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I got pregnant for the first time at 86, right? Yeah, yeah. In fact, I met their dad in 86. I drew pictures of him in my diary when I was a teenager. And so when I met him, I threw caution to the wind. Okay. Okay. In Quintana Roo, crosses became living oracles for the Jan Santa Cruz Maya during the Caste War. The cult of the talking cross first appeared in the summer of 1850 near the modern town of Felipe Carrillo Puerto, located at a cenote known as Jan Santa Cruz, Little Holy Cross. This particular image of the cross was carved on the trunk of a tree. The first temple the Maya built for this cross was constructed west of the town and called Chibalamna, the Jaguar's house. The cross spoke to the people in several ways. Oh, and here's an image of the foliated cross that shows the Milky Way crossing the ecliptic. That's to them, that is the cross, not the one with some dead guy on it. This cross spoke to the people in several ways, at first through the voice of an interpreter and later through written messages communicated by the people who served it. The Maya gave the crosses an Indian identity by clothing them in huipil and fustan, the dress and petticoat worn by Maya women. But the idea of clothing the cross was already an ancient idea for the foliated cross at Palenque, where as a necklace and jewelry like the living being it was. Have you ever seen images of the Jed Pillow Bazaar with eyes on it? Like, to me, I just see so many correspondences. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to stop here. It's very interesting. Like I said, I've had this book for 20 years and I have not read it once, cover to cover. But I'm enjoying opening it up and finding interesting facts to share with you. And it's all like marinating in my mind. And eventually I will continue my research. I have finished 4 books now. So I'm working on getting those out. Okay. All right. So that is our time for TaMeriKan Tuesdays. Just talking about interesting things related to people of Aboriginal American descent. It doesn't mean that if you're not Aboriginal American, you have to leave. It just means you have to abide by the primary precept that the Aboriginal Americans were copper colored or black, not what you call a Native American. Native Americans today don't, I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to get banned. Okay. All right. So now what's supposed to happen is we're going to transfer over to the Akusaneb yoga practice. And I'm trying something new or old. It's not easy for me to do this. I've tried setting up a subscription, but I've learned that's not going to work on YouTube. So I'm not going to go forward with that. And I tried subscription on TikTok, but TikTok takes 50%. So I'd like to continue making offerings with the sound healing and the yoga and the devotional offerings on Thursdays. I'm really enjoying it. However, the temple needs some financial support, needs funding. So at this time, I'm going to relocate the camera so that it shows the mat and the yoga manual on the wall. And if just one person is able to donate anything to Cosmology Temple, we'll just keep it open. If not, that's that. I mean, people are telling me that they like what I'm doing, they want me to keep going, then all of these things. And I'm just at the point now where I need some reciprocity. I'm not supposed to look outside of myself for these things. I know that my life is sustained and provided for by the source. But as my daughter pointed out to me, I had this goal of financial freedom. And she pointed out to me that I've achieved that goal because I'm able to live without money. I said, well, that is not what I had in mind. Okay, that's not what I had in mind. So I'm going to set up the camera and everything. And if you have benefited in any way by these presentations, maybe not today, but maybe you did, kindly send a donation to my Cash App. I'm going to put it in the chat here. It could even be a penny for your donation to Asmataji Temple of Divine Light, Healing, and Sweet Sounds. I'd like to start teaching classes again. The self-care sound healing class and the yoga classes, all these things. All right, so I'm going to turn the cameras around and get ready for the yoga session, and hopefully someone will come through. Cash App or Venmo. Jamalona, if you'd like to join the conversation, just let me know. I'm not sure who's still on here. I can't see, but somebody's on here. Yep. Let me talk a little bit about the yoga system. It's Aku Seneb, Reflective Movement Meditation System. It's built on the Tefneteru Simapau movement of the gods and goddesses. I'm sure Rhonda is familiar with it. She's a Basu. I am strictly level 2, the Matanu, the one with the chants and the Hekau. I've been practicing yoga for over 40 years now. 40 years, let's see, 86, almost 40 years, 38 years. And so I was not required to take the level 1 training, but I'm only certified in the level 2. So it's not a yoga class where I'm like helping you get into the posture or telling you where to put your foot or where your arm or when to inhale or exhale. This is only for people who have a basic understanding of yoga. And we'll be going through the different affirmations, prayers, chants, music that's recited along with the movement. So it's transformed into not just an experience or recreating the process of creation that Khepri went through to develop the cosmic forces of nature, the Neteru, but actually identifying with them and manifesting through them. So if you're interested in that, just a quick donation to Asmataji Temple will enable everyone to experience the sessions. And if nobody's interested, then I just won't do it. It's no big deal. People have expressed interest, but I don't know where they are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move the cameras around and see what happens. Okay, so I've got a little projector here. Get that set up. Oh, I remember why it won't work on YouTube. Let me see if I can get it to work. I remember now. There was another hang up. Does YouTube let me go live from my phone? I think it worked last time. Yeah. Let's make sure I can. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, yeah, I will. I will be able to. Okay. All right, so here we go. So once again, for those of you just tuning in, we're getting ready to transition into the yoga class. Hatshepsut's gonna relocate. She'll be right back. Okay. So you can watch me get this set up. And then I will turn this camera off and turn the other camera on. Just need one person to make a contribution to us Modesty Temple, and we will have a wonderful Akusaneb yoga experience. But I just need one person to make a donation to us Modesty Temple so that I can keep going. Oops. Okay. So right now I'm getting the slideshow projector set up. Okay, so I'm going to close out this one and start again. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to switch cameras now. Hatep. Alrighty then.